So growing up, I didn't really have a lot of exposure to Jackie Chan. The most I had was Kung Fu Panda, Rush Hour, if it was even on TV, and oddly enough, The Tuxedo.
Enjoy the show.
What is wrong with you?
He fell down by himself.
You killed James Brown.
Yeah, The Tuxedo. Out of all the movies we had, I don't really know why we had this one, but I remember watching it a ton as a kid. Ultimately, what I'm getting at is Jackie Chan has a rich filmography filled with movies that I've never even seen or heard of before. And as a movie lover, I sought out to change that. So, scrolling through HBO Max one day, I stumbled upon Police Story. And I thought, what the hell? Let's try it out. And let me tell you, this movie is wild. So Jackie Chan not only stars in this, but it's also one of the many films that he's written and directed. And knowing this now, it's honestly inspiring to see how much heart he's put into this and how well he knows the action comedy drama. I mean, at the end, during the credits, you get to see behind the scenes footage of Jackie just directing everybody and, of course, doing his own stunts as always. It's truly incredible. So, in Police Story, Jackie Chan stars as Officer Chan Ka-kui, who is thrust into superstardom after capturing a big-time drug dealer. And honestly, that's as much into the plot as I want to get into. I know it's kind of bare minimum, but honestly, it's for your own benefit to watch it all for yourself. But what I can say is that this movie has some of the best action scenes I've ever seen. The first act alone had my jaw drop from just the sheer amount of insanity that was being thrown at me. Something that really bothers me in a lot of action movies is the amount of cuts between movement to show fast motion. And after a while, it can really be hard to understand what's even happening on screen. With Police Story, yes, there are cuts, but because you can see that everyone truly is a professional at this stuff, that you can allow the camera to sit and stay at a position for at least a couple seconds so you can just soak in all the action that's taking place. What I honestly didn't expect from this movie is how funny it was. I found myself bursting out laughing a number of times throughout the film from the situations that Kakui found himself in. Now, unfortunately, HBO Max didn't have Police Story Part 2, so I went out and got the Criterion Collection, which had both films in it, so I could check it out. Now, if you plan on watching these, which I highly recommend you do, I would try to see if you can watch them back to back, because, like the title suggests, it really is a part 2 to the story, taking place shortly after the events of the first one. And what I truly appreciate about this one is that you get to see Kakui suffer the consequences of his actions from the first one. I mean, no man should be able to do what he did and get away scot-free. However, if I were to judge these as standalone movies, seeing as I saw part 2 a couple weeks after the first one, I'd say it is a little bit of the weaker movie, as part 2 is trying to juggle a lot more, and there not being as many spectacular set pieces as there were in the first one. Not to say that part 2 doesn't have great fight scenes at all, that's just untrue. But seeing as this is a review, I felt I did have to point that out. But of course, that's just my opinion. What I do feel it does greatly, though, is that it shows the growth of all of the characters, main and supporting, throughout the cast. All in all, Police Stories Part 1 and 2 are extremely entertaining movies that I really recommend to anybody who is a fan of Jackie Chan or at least hasn't seen a lot of his films, like I sadly haven't. Over the last couple years, I've been really trying to watch a lot more foreign films and really expand my horizons because there's just a whole other world of talented people out there who have amazing visions that we don't always get to see. And I don't think anyone put it better than director Bong Joon-ho. During the 2020 Oscars, he had a very important message for us here in the West. Once you overcome the 1-inch tall barrier of subtitles, you will be introduced to so many more amazing films. And that is something that will always stick with me. Thank you for watching.